What's going on, beautiful people? It is your host, the God Armani. You are tuned into the God Armani podcast. So today's topic is not looking like your struggle. I know that sounds a little funny, but it's really actually a thing. And in my life, I've been told that quite often. More so recently, my therapist actually told me that. And it was so funny that he said that because yeah, I'm jumping right into it. Yeah, we not gonna take too much time. Y'all know I don't be on here for 8 hours talking. But yeah, so my therapist, we're talking about other things in our session, and towards the end of the session, he was like, I want to say something and I hope that you don't take it the wrong way. But it's something that needs to be said. He said, I noticed two things about you. One is that you don't have like a great relationship with your anger. And then two, you don't look like what you're going through. And so this episode is actually like a two-parter. It's, talking about anger a bit, but mostly focusing on not looking like a struggle. So I'll touch on the not dealing with my anger part, or not having like a stronger relationship with my anger or whatever it was that my therapist was trying to say. Because sometimes I get lost in translation. I'm an overthinker, I'm a Leo, and sometimes I also don't comprehend well. People that know me, they know this. I've also said this in interviews and all the things. But anyway, so it's not that I don't get angry, as I said to my therapist, because of course I get angry. I'm a black queer trans man in America. Of course I get angry. Of course I get angry at things. Of tired of being broke, tired of struggling, tired of feeling like I have to walk with a target on my back, tired of feeling like just because I walk outside every day and as a black man, as a queer man, as a trans man, as all these different intersectionalities, that I'm a threat to people. Like of course I get angry. However, in getting angry, as I explained to my therapist, I don't feel that I have to yell, I have to scream, I have to fight, I have to kick, like I just don't do much of those things. I don't do those things at all for the most part. But yeah, I'm not like most people who, when they get angry, they scream or they lose their temper, they lose their shit, they want to fight, they want to punch a hole in a wall or hit someone else or whatever. I just don't do those things. I can't speak too much of when I was a child, like younger than, I don't know, maybe like younger than 8. I don't quite remember how I handled my anger then, but from what I can remember, I've always handled my anger the same. Maybe even better, actually, the older that I got, in my opinion. Maybe not in my therapist, but in my opinion, I think that maybe when I was younger, I probably cried more than I do now as an adult. I probably would show on my face that I was sad, that I was hurt, that I was angry, that I was upset more than I do now as an adult. As an adult, having experienced so many things and being treated a certain way by people in general, whether it be friends, family, lovers, co-workers, peers, just all the things. I want to say that I had just found different ways to deal with my anger because again, I am human. Overall, I do get angry. Things do make me angry. I'm not easily angered, but I do get angry. One of the main ways that I have dealt with my anger is art. So sometimes when I am angry, when something has caused me pain, something has caused me discomfort, I write, whether that's physically taking, a pen or a pencil and actually writing something, or it's typing on a laptop or on my phone, whatever it is. I find that writing is very therapeutic, that it helps me with my anger, which is why I also have, 4 books, 4 published books. So when I am angry about certain things, I write, I take pictures, I do photography. I'm learning more now to be a director and to get into film. I make music, which I don't really share my music with the world because I don't like critiquing my shit. So my music is more so like a therapy for myself. I love music. Music is my first love, but most people know me as a designer, as a photographer, and an author and all these other things. But music is actually my first love. I sang as a child. I played the violin as a child, so music is my first love. But yeah, so I create my own music. I meditate. I ride my bike. I go for walks. I stretch. I light incense. Like there's so many things that I do to deal with my anger. However, I want to say that due to being called a crybaby when I was younger, and people always unfortunately saying this line to me that you always crying, you always whine, which again, as I said on a previous episode, stop doing that. I hate that people do that, because when they're saying that to me, they're saying that it like almost immediately after I had just voiced how I felt and I was just simply talking. It would be different if I was actually whining or actually like complaining in a way that I would actually be complaining. When I wasn't, I would simply just be taking a moment to actually use my voice and say, here's what's bothering me, here's what I don't like, here's how I don't want something, or whatever it is. It's not whining nor complaining, it's voicing how I feel. And because people have done that so much, and I mean like so much since a child, I got to a place of not talking much. And I hold myself accountable for allowing, people to get me to that place of not wanting to talk. But in those moments of where I felt like I couldn't talk, and for years, like I wouldn't really say much. I would let my art speak for me. It did hurt. It hurt, but it also felt somewhat good, because I love that people felt as if I was mysterious. They were very curious about me because I didn't say much. I would just sit and observe and sit and be quiet unless people would ask me questions. And so yeah, so I use art to get through to deal with my anger. I utilize meditation and riding a bike and exercise and things like that. Swimming. Oh my gosh, I love swimming so much. Yeah, I utilize those things to deal with my anger. As a trans man that has been on hormones for over a decade, I noticed that, as I tell people, my crier is broke. Being on hormones and just the changes that my body had gone through, it took my body to a place of not being able to access being able to cry easily. Like, you know how like some actors can like cry on cue and things like that. Like, it's hard for me to do that. Even when things have really hurt me, like becoming disabled, like not physically being able to do certain things, going through, traumatic breakups, ending what's it called? Certain friendships with people that I consider family, my house flooding, and just all the things, all the things in life that have caused me pain, that I was actually angry about, where those were moments where I wanted to cry. It was like my body would not produce tears. And so that's why I told my therapist, I told my doctor, like, I feel like my crier is broken because I've wanted to cry and not been able to access that. And I'm saying it in this way and telling you these things because I want people to know that I hope that people are, first of all, accessing their anger and their emotions and processing it, embracing it, working through it, and also not being easily angered. I know that there are a lot of people in the world that are, but I hope that you are tapping into your anger, you are embracing it and using it as motivation to push you to navigate anger in a different way, in a better way, in a healthier way. If you aren't already, if you are someone that is easily angered, someone that has not been in touch with their anger, someone that has so much trauma and or things built up inside of you or whatever, I hope that this motivates you to better deal with it, to first access it, to embrace it, to explore it, to process it, and then to find healthy ways to deal with and move through, and forward and beyond your anger. So in short, it's not that I don't get angry. I just deal with my anger in different ways that a lot of other people do not. Again, I don't need to kick and scream. I don't need to fight. I've only been in a few fights in my life. And those were, as a child, as an adult, I haven't had to fight, but that's also because I have this certain control about myself that I don't want to get to that point because I'm afraid for you. Anyone that approaches me in that way, I may not fight you because I am afraid for you, for your life. if we should get to that point to where I have to defend myself, I'm afraid for your life, for your sake. So you should not try to fight me. You should not get me to that point to where I need to fight you and to defend myself. Because I fear for you. So I avoid that at all costs. So I do my best not to get as angry. Like y'all know everything I say, it always, like, I talk in like a circle, right? But everything makes sense. It connects, it comes back to what I was saying in the beginning. So yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is not looking like your struggle. Now, again, just like I said earlier, this is something that I have also been told all of my life. I am usually, like I said on the previous episode, I'm usually the one smiling, the life of the party, or the one that lights up the room or whatever. And sometimes people have zero clue of what it is that I am dealing with. As my therapist and other people have said, but more recently, my therapist, has said to me, you carry your struggle so well. You carry yourself so well that you would have no clue that you are dealing with so many battles, that you are hurting, that you have pain, that people are not supporting you, all these things. And it's true. It's true. I mean, again, I'm a Leo. I like to look good. But yeah, I don't typically ever look like what I'm going through. Now, occasionally you may see me with, like, an untamed beard, or my hair a little messy and I got a hat on, or, things like that. Or sometimes I'll just throw clothes on to, like, go to the store or something. But outside of that, like, I am a very well put together person. I like to look good. I like to smell good. Yeah. And so I'm not sure how I started being like this, but as far as I can remember, all the way back to my childhood, I have not ever looked like the things that I have been dealing with or gone through. If it's something old that I'm no longer dealing with, gone through in past tense. I can remember from, I don't know, I want to say like age 11, when puberty hit me, and oh my gosh, I was like so distraught, and I was just dealing with so many things, identity crisis, just everything at 11. I was already dealing with things before 11, but 11 is like a bigger, excuse me, a bigger point in my life where I can really remember, that I was dealing with certain things. And here I was, this 11-year-old kid going through puberty, being like overweight and looking sweaty all the time, and just just all of these things, and dealing with my sexuality, dealing with my identity crisis, just battling depression. Can you imagine dealing with depression at age 11? My goodness. Yes. And no, I didn't have a therapist at the time, and of course I don't think my doctor at the time knew. But if I can remember correctly, I was battling depression undiagnosed at age 11, because of so many different things. And here I was at every family reunion, every birthday party, every cookout, every gathering, going to school, and all the things, spending summers in Virginia with my family, and all the things, just smiling, laughing, and being a kid, right? All the while, I was battling these things, and no one knew, and if they did, they didn't say anything to me. And so as I got older, getting into my teens, and figuring out like what clothes work for me, and going into leaving middle school, going into high school, and yeah, it just was a lot. And even then, still smiling, still laughing, still being the life of the party, being the one that everybody wanted to come over my house, my parents' house, and stay the night. And my parents were always great parents to me, I can say that. So as far as growing up in my childhood, my parents have always been great to me. And of course, other people around me. There were things that have happened to me that, again, as y'all listen, different episodes, you'll learn more about me. But all the while, all these things, and something traumatic happened to me at age 11 also, or between the ages of 9 and 11, something traumatic also happened to me. And again, even while dealing with that, I still managed to smile and laugh and still try to have a happy childhood. And I did overall, because my parents, again, they were great parents. They are great parents still to this day. I love my parents. Shout out to my mom and dad. I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for giving me life. Yeah, I was able to smile and to just, maneuver through life with these things that I was dealing with, and people did not know. At what, age 13, I started going to my first like queer nightclub. I was just entering into ninth grade in high school. I had just graduated 8th grade, and so now I was in a new territory. Being able to use my school ID, or student ID is what they call them, to get into a nightclub and just accessing different territory, seeing more community. This was now my first time knowingly, seeing like open trans and non-binary people at the time, seeing people in drag, seeing people Vogue. This is how I got introduced to ballroom, and just so many things. And I felt like entering into that space was a highlight of my life, both good and bad, because now here's where I really started to explore with drinking and smoking, staying out late and sleeping with random people, and just, all, yeah, I started at young. And although a lot of those things made me happy, and brought me joy as a younger person, I was acting out once again through all of the things that I was battling. And again, no one knew. None of my friends around me knew that I was struggling so bad, that I was dealing with so much so bad, because on the outside, I was smiling. I was looking happy. I was always, oh, let's go to this party. Let's go to the club. Let's smoke. Let's drink. Let's do all these things. But no one really knew what I was dealing with. And so I want to say I didn't really start talking about the things that I was dealing with to people. And also I dealt with suicide, depression, probably as a teen. And then when I was like, I want to say, like, I don't know, maybe I was younger than 25. I know that I actually tried to like take myself out. And I had made a rule with myself that if that attempt did not work, that I would give life a chance, and I would really, try to focus on my dreams and be a happier person, and, get a therapist and all these things. And that's what I did. Over time, I did all of those things, because obviously I'm still here. I'm talking to y'all. Y'all hear my voice. My attempt failed miserably. I did get sick. I'll maybe talk to y'all on another episode about what I did and all the things. Maybe not. Maybe you'll have to buy one of my books and read about my life. Who knows? But yeah, unfortunately, I did try to, like, leave this world, and my attempt I failed miserably. And so I got to a point where I was like, all right, well, guess I got to keep going with life. Got to keep trying, yeah. And so now, fast forward, I'll say a few years ago, and I won't talk on this one too much, because I don't want to drag it out. But a few years ago, before I moved to LA, I was dealing with a lot, like a shit ton of shit. I am a parent of a teenager. And I mentioned this certain things before. I was renting a basement in Brooklyn. My place flooded, and I lost over $15,000 worth of artwork alone, just artwork, on top of my, clothing, shoes, and other things that I had that got damaged, that I lost, either got lost, damaged, whatever, over $15,000 worth of stuff, and had to repair from there, and then spending more money to try and offset the things that I lost and maintain, and then trying to get back that money from like FEMA and all it was bad. And in the midst of deciding if I wanted to leave New York, and dealing with a breakup, and after that breakup, dealing with a stalking ass ex. Like, I was dealing with it so much, y'all. I was dealing with so much that, like, I don't give a fuck if y'all judge me. Y'all know I'm gonna be fully transparent and honest. But I started being a hoe again. Oh, damn. See, look, I be talking so much that I forget things. So when I was younger, while I was dealing, and when I say younger, I mean like, I'm gonna say like 14. So from like 14 to like maybe like 22, 23. The best way that I knew how to cope with the things that I was dealing with, and also to not look like the struggle that I was dealing with, was to have sex with people, random people, people I knew, whatever it was. Now, this might sound like, oh yeah, I was just sleeping with everybody all over Philly. That's not what I said. However, in my mind, that's what it looked like. And I don't give a fuck who judged me. The truth is the truth. Certain people called me a hoe, a whore, all this, whatever. I don't fuck. So now, I tell people I'm a retired hoe because I eventually started to claim the word. But yeah, so I was doing that. And so when I was dealing with all of those things just a few years ago, I started to fall back into that, to where I was dealing with such a struggle that I was starting to resort to an old way of, well, I'll just fuck the pain away. And so I wanted to please people whenever I could, however I could, which in turn would please me and help me to mask my anger, as I spoke about earlier, and also mask that I was dealing with such a struggle because so many people in my life, and this is not to put this on other people, however, it didn't help, but so many people, as I've said before, have seen me as an inspiration, as motivation, as their rock, as the strongest person they know, and all these things that it was pressure on top of the struggle that I was already dealing with, of all things that I mentioned previously. And the best way that I knew how to stay alive and to get through these things was to sleep with people. Like, sex was my drug. How some people, they do like pills and other substances they drink, and whatever I didn't do any of that. I solely wanted to fuck. And it sounds bad, but again, my truth is my truth. And I saw myself slowly slipping back into that while I was battling so much. And I was like, you know what? I actually got to a point where I pulled myself, I took a step outside of myself, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I pulled myself out of that somewhat enough to be like, okay, you're resorting back to old ways. You're not happy. Here's all the things X, Y, and Z. Here's a list of shit that you're doing, that you're not doing, that you need to do, and all that. First things first, get a motherfucking therapist. And I know that some people frown upon therapy, especially a lot of people of color, more and specifically black people. I need y'all to stop doing that, because therapy is very, it can be, let me make sure I say it right, it can be very helpful. I know that there's things within it, like finding the right therapist and all. Yes, I'm sure. But for me, every therapist that I have had, I think I've had like 5, because I kept moving around. They've all helped me in some way. They've all helped me in some way, and they were all not black. They were all not queer. None of them were trans. So there were a lot of, because I know specifically a lot of people who are looking for their therapist as if they're searching for like a friend or a partner, like people that can closely identify with them. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. However, sometimes it may make it harder for you and take a longer time for you to find a therapist, because you are searching for someone that resembles your life, or resembles you in a way of your color, your sexual identity, your sexual orientation, excuse me, your gender, just all these different things. And I'm not going to say don't look for those things because of your own comfort. However, again, it could just take longer. Me, I was just kind of like, all right, well, sign me up with somebody if I didn't look at them myself, and I'll fill you out the first 2 or 3 times. And if I don't like you, then I'll switch. But luckily for me, every therapist that I've had, they were great. It was me that was moving around to different states and stuff that I had to keep switching to people. Anyway, because I can go on and on, and we almost out of time per usual. But yeah, so I got myself to a place enough to be like, okay, here's where I check in with myself. Here's where I make a list of all the shit that I need to do, that I shouldn't be doing, that I need to stop, blah blah blah. And first things first, let's get a therapist. Then the therapist came in. Luckily, I liked my therapist from the jump, and we started working on things. And it was like, okay, listen, here's how I can help you and all the things, but here's also the things that you need to do, because I don't have all the answers for you, but here's how I can help you. So therapy was really, really big for me. I stopped having sex briefly. I started exercising more. I started eating better, because I started getting into a bad habit of eating cakes and cookies and donuts and all the sugary shit that I love. Hence probably why I'm such a fucking teddy bear. Why I look like a teddy bear. Y'all don't say that, only I can. No, it's fine. Y'all can say that. I embrace being a chubby bear. I love that I can laugh at myself at this shit, because all the things that I'm telling y'all on my podcast have been things that like have just been in my mind, in my heart, and or shit that I've written about that like not many people know about. Some people do anyway. So yeah, but anyway, so I got to a place where I was like, you know what? I want to also start telling people about the struggles that I am currently dealing with, so that they can stop seeing me as such a super fucking human. I'm not superhuman. I am a human. Now, yes, I am stronger than some people, but I'm also weaker than some people. I, again, like I said earlier, I deal with my anger in certain ways that other people don't, you know? But I know that certain people see me as such this strong person, like, oh, you're so strong, you can do anything, and this is it. But that doesn't mean that I don't hurt. That doesn't mean that I don't need support. That doesn't mean that I don't need people to show up for me. You know, that doesn't mean that I don't want to cry sometimes. That doesn't mean that people aren't fucking hurting me, because they are, you know? And I want people to, I'm saying all of this to say that I want people to realize that we are all human. No matter how strong a person looks, how well they carry it, as people say, you don't know what a person is going through. And honestly, I wish that y'all would ask more often. And I know that some of us, we're so busy, we're so stressed the fuck out, we're so, and I'm saying we because I've been this person, and I don't just want to say y'all. But I know that we have our own lives. A lot of us don't have to deal with other people's shit, and that's fine too. However, a part of being a great friend, a great partner, a great parent, you know, a great person in general, regardless of your relationship or dynamic with other people in life. But part of being a good you know, person outside yourself, but to other people, what I'm trying to say. Part of being a good person to other people and to yourself is making sure that you first show up for yourself and check in with you and make sure that you're good, but then also checking in and showing up for the people that you love and care for. And one of the simplest things that you can ask people is, how are you doing? How was your day? How can I help you? What is it that you need for me to do? What is it that you would like for me to do? Again, checking in with yourself and making sure that you are good, and filling out how much capacity you have, and also communicating that. Communicating like, hey, listen, I might not have a lot of capacity, but you know, I just want to check with you, you know, and not overextending yourself, because I know that that's the thing that people do too, especially me. I'm so growing out of that shit that I've been more of a hermit crab lately, because I've been growing out of overextending myself to people and not having much capacity for myself. At the end of the day, once I've helped so many people, right? So I would like for people, I encourage people, I urge people to first check in with yourself, make sure that you are good, you know, weigh how much capacity you have, and then if and when you do have capacity for other people and their shit, check in with your people, ask them those things that I just said to you. How are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? What is it that you need for me to do? What is it that you would like for me to do? How can I help you? How can I show up for you? You know, and but also again, communicating your amount of capacity. It's okay to let people know, listen, I don't have that much capacity, but I just wanted to at least text you and check up on you. Or, you know, I'm not the best today. Like, can I talk to you in a couple of days? Can I call you back in a couple of days? Whatever. Like, communication is so big, right? And as you're communicating your capacity and all of that, this is also for the people who are struggling and don't look like they're struggle. It's okay to not look like you're struggle. It's okay to also look so fucking good, so well put. But you can also, in that same moment, while you look so good, while you look so put together, your life looks so great and so perfected, right? Which is bullshit. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But also, there's some truth in there, right? You know, they say in every joke there's some truth, right? Anyway, yeah, you know, while you look so well put and your life looks so together, should it not be, communicate that to people and let people know, like, listen, I know I look good. I know that y'all think that my life is perfect, but it's not. Say that shit. Say that shit. I urge you to communicate with people, and you don't have to tell people your business. You don't got to create a podcast like me. You don't have to do all of that. However, once in a while, when people are constantly saying, if people are constantly saying to you, oh, you look so well put in, your life seems so perfect, and let motherfuckers know, listen, my motherfucking life is not perfect. I am human and I struggle too. I go through shit just like you do. I don't even have like the time to tell y'all a whole nother story, but let me just tell y'all something that I was at a place at a point in my life where I had no money in the bank. I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was sleeping on futons. Shit, at twice in my life. No, matter of fact, 3 times in my life. I shared my friend's bed with them, and these were not friends that I was intimate with. These were like just friends. But I was so broke, so fucked up, while simultaneously being on a fucking TV show, while simultaneously, having a career in art. Like, and to people on social media, it was like, oh, you moving from place to place, you got money, you this, you got a business, you did. And the whole time, motherfuckers not even paying attention, or even knew, some people not, or gave a fuck, or realized, whichever the situation, that I didn't even have my own place. I ain't had no fucking money. My business was not doing great. Like, the reality of things is that, again, I don't look like my struggle. And as fortunate as that is for me present day, and has been my whole life, it's also very unfortunate because currently, I have reached out to people for help. I have talked to people about my life. I have asked people for resources, and all these things. And, people will just listen to be nosy. They will listen to the story. They want to know what's going on with me. They want to try to figure me out. They want to have something told over my head. They want to talk shit about me, whatever it is, right? They want to know my business because people can't keep up with me. Because as I told y'all earlier, I've been like mysterious to people. They've been curious about me. They can't keep up with me. They don't know which state I'm living in, or what I'm doing. Like, they can't keep up with me. So when I do start to be vulnerable, which I'm actually vulnerable quite often if people paid attention to me, um, when I'm actually being even more vulnerable, and out loud vulnerable, it's like people don't give a shit, or maybe they don't have the capacity, but ultimately it's truly because people don't give a shit, and they feel like, well, Armani's life is better than mine, so I don't need to help him, and it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up that I know that that's unfortunately the reality. People won't say those words, but their actions say that. Yeah, that's the sad truth, is that people do not help me because I don't look like my struggle, when truthfully I do need help with things. I do need assistance. I do need information. I do need resources. I do need access. I do need people to show up to events. I do need people to buy tickets. I do need people to buy my art. I do need people to compliment me, to comment on my shit, to share my shit, to repost my shit. Like, I do need all of those things. But again, the sad reality is that a lot of people, they don't do that, and they won't do it because they feel like I already get it and receive it in abundance, and that I'm already living better than they are, when truthfully I'm not. And that shit hurts. That shit hurts like a motherfucker, because it's like, dog, at the end of the day, I'm human just like y'all are. So all of that to say, please be in touch with your anger. Please have a good relationship with your anger. Be able to tap into it, embrace it. And when it comes to not looking like your struggle, I don't even know. I don't even know. Cause it's like, some of us, we just look good. We carry that shit well. And I don't just mean like how you look, like, oh, you a cute person. No, I mean like in general, how you look as a whole, how your life, like how you dress, how your picture looks of your house, your car, or your finances, or your career, or whatever it is, just in general, your life. You may not look like your struggle. And as fortunate as that is, it can also be unfortunate, because some people will not be willing to help and or support you in any way, shape, or form, because they have this thought of, somewhere along the lines of, okay, you're doing better than them, so they don't want to help you be better than them. When really, nobody is better than anybody. We are all human. We are all doing our best at being ourselves, and we are all doing our best to achieve whatever goals that we are trying to achieve. If you ain't got no therapist, get you a motherfucking therapist. Find a way, some way, somehow, get you a therapist, a psychiatrist, a life coach, a mentor, someone that can see your struggle, that is willing to help you through your struggle, even in the smallest way. Keep you some supportive friends, some supportive peers, supportive co-workers, supportive family, supportive lovers or lover, whichever, some of y'all poly out there and y'all got 8 partners. No judgment. No, seriously though, no judgment, because I feel like I'm open to poly. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. I mean, a whole nother topic discussion for another day. But keep supportive people around you. Don't be afraid to express your struggles, express your life, and tell them how you feel, what you're dealing with. Show up for yourself, love yourself. And I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all could have been listening to anybody else, but you listening to me. You took your time out to listen to me. And so I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Whew. Per usual, that was deep, right? I know. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale one more time. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. I hope that y'all have a good day, a good week, a good month, a good every day. Yeah, love y'all, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all loving the show. Feel free to give me feedback. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, share this with your people. And yeah, I'm gonna keep working on me, keep loving on me. I'm still not gonna look like my struggle because I look good. But I will continue to be vocal about my struggles and remind people that I am human. Sadly, I have to do that, and continue working on my relationship with my anger. So yeah, I hope that this episode has helped y'all. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, God Armani out. Peace.